Have you ever seen a bird finally break free from a cage? At first, it hesitates, unsure if it can truly fly, but the moment it spreads its wings, there is no turning back. This is what happens when God frees his children from the grip of manipulation. At first, the change may feel unfamiliar, even unsettling, but then clarity comes, and with it undeniable signs that his justice is already at work. Some burdens were never meant to be carried. The enemy often places people in our lives who drain our strength, cloud our judgment, and keep us bound in cycles of guilt and confusion. Narcissists thrive on emotional control, using deception to keep their hold. But when God decides it is time to remove them, their power begins to unravel. And when that happens, there are signs, clear, unmistakable signs, that you are no longer under the influence. Wisely, C.S. Lewis once wrote, "You may forget that you're at every moment totally dependent on God." Perhaps you have felt this, wondering if you have the strength to break free, questioning if healing is even possible. But God's justice is not just about removing what is harmful, it is about restoring what was lost. And when he moves, nothing can stand against him. There are three powerful signs that confirm a narcissist's control over you has ended. These are not just signs of escape, but of transformation. They mark the moment when the chains are broken, when your soul begins to heal, and when God's truth replaces the lies that once held you captive. Watch for them, because when they appear, freedom has already begun. Have you ever noticed how darkness only thrives where light is absent? A narcissist, much like a thief in the night, operates best when their control remains unquestioned. But what happens when that control is broken? When the chains of manipulation begin to fall away, the enemy panics because the light of truth has begun to shine. For so long, you may have felt trapped in a relationship where deception reigned. The cycle of emotional abuse, gaslighting, and guilt made you question your own worth. Yet God is a God of justice, and his power does not leave his children in bondage when he begins to remove a narcissist. I'm your life. There are unmistakable signs that reveal his hand at work, guiding you toward restoration. C.S. Lewis once observed that pain insists upon being attended to. God whispers to us in our pleasure, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Could it be that your pain was never meant to break you, but to awaken you? The moment you begin to recognize the tactics of control for what they are, the stronghold weakens. And when that happens, the narcissist's grip begins to slip. One of the greatest fears of a narcissist is losing their ability to control you. They thrive on emotional dependence, on keeping you bound in cycles of confusion and self-doubt. But once you start noticing the shifts, the moments where their words no longer hold power over you, it becomes clear that something is changing. And change is what they fear most. Scripture reminds us in Isaiah 41:10, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." When God upholds you, no force of manipulation can keep you enslaved. You are stepping into a new reality. One way, your emotional freedom is no longer a distant hope, but a present victory. If you've ever wondered, how do I know I'm truly free? There are three undeniable signs. These signs mark the moment when the narcissist no longer holds power over you. They are evidence that God's justice is in motion, and that his restoration has already begun. But before these signs become clear, there is something deeper at play. The fear that grips the manipulator when they sense they are losing their control. What does a narcissist do when they realize they no longer own your emotions? How does the enemy react when the chains of oppression begin to crack? A narcissist's greatest fear is not being ignored. It is losing control. Control is their lifeline, the very thing that sustains their false sense of power. When they censored slipping away, they react with desperation, grasping at any tactic to regain dominance. It is in these moments that their true nature is fully exposed, for their confidence is nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion. At first, they may try subtle manipulation, playing the victim, making you question your decisions, or using guilt as a weapon. If that fails, they escalate. Perhaps they resort to gaslighting, rewriting history to make you doubt your own experiences. Or maybe they shift from charm to rage in an instant, hoping that fear will bring you back under their control. But something is different now. These tactics no longer work as they once did. C.S. Lewis wisely wrote, "A tyranny exercised for the good of its victims may be the most oppressive. Those who torment us for our own good will torment us without end, for they do so with the approval of their conscience." The narcissist often believes they are justified in their actions, convinced that dominance is necessary. But when their grip weakens, panic sets in, and their desperation reveals the emptiness behind their mask. You may notice a shift. Their words no longer hold the same weight. Their anger no longer shakes you. Their approval no longer feels necessary. This is the awakening they dread. It is the moment when you stop seeking their validation, when you recognize the cycle for what it is. A trap designed to keep you bound, and in that realization their power begins to dissolve. 2 Corinthians 3:17 declares, "Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom." The enemy despises freedom, the narcissist fears the moment you reclaim your independence, because without your submission they lose their control. And when their control is gone, they have nothing left to hold on to. Some may attempt to reclaim power through new strategies, perhaps by pretending to change, making grand promises, or even seeking revenge. But the truth remains, once God begins the work of freeing, no manipulation can stand against his power. What was once hidden in deception is now exposed in the light, and exposure is what they fear most. If you have noticed that panic, their shifting tactics, their frantic attempt to regain control, it is because you are no longer the person they once manipulated. You are standing in truth, and the truth has set you free. But how do you know that their influence is truly broken? How can you be sure that their grip has loosened completely? There are 3 unmistakable signs that prove their hold over you has ended, signs that reveal God's hand moving powerfully in your life. A fire cannot burn without fuel. The same is true for a narcissist. They thrive on your reactions, your pain, your confusion. Every time you were provoked, every time they twisted your words or played the victim, who are feeding off your emotions. But something has changed. The fire is dying, and they know it. There was a time when their accusations would leave you restless, replaying conversations in your mind, questioning if you were the problem. They would use gaslighting to bend reality, to make you doubt yourself. But now their words fall like arrows against armor, heard but powerless. What once left you shattered now barely leaves a mark. C.S. Lewis observed the devil's cause is never more in danger than when a human no longer desiring, but still intending to do God's will, looks round upon a universe from which every trace of him seems to have vanished, and asks why he's been forsaken and still obeys. The enemy's power weakens the moment you refuse to react, your silence, your calm, your refusal to engage in their chaos. It terrifies them. The narcissist built a pattern of control, much like a puppeteer pulling strings. But when the strings are cut, the show is over. We no longer flinch at their manipulation, when their anger no longer sparks fear, when their silence no longer makes you chase after them. That is when the cycle begins to break. The power they held is slipping, and they feel it. Psalm 46:10 declares, "Be still and know that I am God. There is strength in stillness." The narcissist wants a reaction. But you have learned to be still. Their storms rage, but you remain unmoved. This is the first sign of true freedom. The ability to see their tactics for what they are and choose not to engage. Do not be surprised if they try harder. If they once whispered, they may now shout. If they once played the victim, they may now play the aggressor. But the outcome is the same. What was once a battle inside you is now a battle outside of you, and that makes all the difference. When your peace becomes unshakable, their power becomes meaningless. They will sense the shift, and they will fear it. But this is only the beginning. The breaking of their control is not just about what you ignore, it is also about what you now see clearly. A magician's trick only works as long as the audience believes in the illusion. The narcissist relies on deception, gaslighting, blame shifting, false apologies to keep control. But once you see through the act, the magic is gone. What once confused you now seems obvious. What once made you doubt yourself now reveals their true nature. They used to rewrite history, making you question your own memories. They would twist your words, blame you for their actions, and turn your pain into proof of their righteousness. But now that tactics feel empty, the guilt they once placed upon you no longer sticks. Their promises ring hollow. Oh, the fog of manipulation has lifted, and you finally see the truth. Wisely, C.S. Lewis once noted, the safest road to hell is the gradual one, the gentle slope soft underfoot, without sudden turning, without milestones, without signposts. Manipulation works the same way, subtle, slow, nearly invisible. But when God opens your eyes, what was once hidden becomes clear. You no longer fall for the small lies that led to great deception. You recognize the pattern, and because you see it, you escape it. There was a time when their approval felt necessary, when their words had the power to shape your reality. But now you stand from their disappointment. No longer controls you. Their anger no longer intimidate you. The emotional chains that once bound you are broken, and in their place is a quiet strength that they cannot understand. John 8:32 proclaims, "Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Truth is the enemy of manipulation. It is light that exposes darkness, clarity that dissolves confusion, and once you embrace it, you can never be deceived the same way again. The narcissist may try, but their words have lost their power. The game is over. This is why they grow desperate. When manipulation fails, they are left with nothing. They may change their strategy, playing the victim, making false promises, or using others to turn against you. But you see through it all. Their web of control is unraveling, and they can feel it slipping from their grasp. You are no longer trapped in the cycle of confusion. Where once there was self-doubt, now there is clarity. Where once there was fear, now there is wisdom. The spell has been broken. And when manipulation no longer works, there is only one thing left for you to do: set from boundaries and walk away. A lion does not negotiate with a wolf. It does not explain itself, seek approval, or wait for permission to defend its territory. It simply stands firm. And this is what the narcissist fears most, not your anger, not your arguments, but your firm decision to walk away when you set boundaries and refused. Compromise them, their power crumbles. Before they knew how to pull you back, they knew what to say to make you doubt yourself, how to push just enough to make you question your choices. But now you no longer justify your limits. You no longer explain why you refuse to tolerate manipulation. You simply say no, and you mean it. This is the moment they realize they have lost control. Wise C.S. Lewis once wrote, "You can't go back and change the beginning, but you could. Start where you are and change the ending." For so long they made you believe that leaving was impossible, that you are bound to the cycle, that walking away meant failure. But now you see the truth. God's will is never for his children to live in bondage, and because you see it, you step into freedom. Setting boundaries is not cruelty, it is wisdom. Jesus himself set boundaries, walking away from those who sought to trap him, refusing to engage with those who acted in bad faith. He did not allow manipulation to dictate his path. Matthew 10:14 declares, "If anyone will not welcome you or listen to your words, leave that home or town and shake the dust off your feet." There is a time to fight for restoration, and there was a time to walk away. The narcissist will test your resolve. They may try kindness, guilt, or even threats. They may accuse you of being cold, heartless, or unforgiving. But you are not bound by their expectations. You have chosen peace of a chaos, clarity over confusion, healing over cycles of pain. And this is the greatest act of self-respect, the recognition that you are worth more than their control. Once you walk away, something incredible happens. The weight that once pressed upon your soul begins to lift. The anxiety that once ruled your thoughts begins to fade. You no longer wake up wondering how they will react, what trap they might set, or what mood they will be in. You are free. And with this freedom comes something even greater: restoration. God does not remove something without replacing it with something better. Where there was once manipulation, he brings truth. Where there was once control, he brings peace. Where there was once emotional exhaustion, he brings renewal. Walking away is not just an end, it is a beginning. And in that beginning, God's justice moves. But what happens next when you have broken free, when the narcissist has lost their grip? What does God do? How does his justice unfold? There is one final truth to understand: the battle has already been won. Justice does not always come in the way we expect, but it always comes when God removes a narcissist from your life. He is not only freeing you from their control, he is restoring everything that was lost. The pain you endured was not unseen, and the battle you fought, it was not ignored. God's justice is already in motion, even if you do not see it yet. For so long, the narcissist made you believe they were untouchable, that their actions would have no consequences. They control the narrative, shifted blame, and walked away as if they had won. But Galatians 6:7 reminds us, "Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. A man reaps what he sows. No deception lasts forever. God will not be mocked." Wisely, C.S. Lewis once wrote, "When we lose one blessing, another is often most unexpectedly given in its place." At first, their removal may have felt like loss, but now you see the truth. It was divine protection. What seemed like rejection was actually redirection. God never takes something without giving something greater in return. The narcissist may act as if they have escaped judgment, but justice belongs to the Lord. Their own patterns will destroy them. Their own deception will turn against them. You may never witness their downfall, But rest assured, nothing goes unnoticed by God. The same hands that delivered you will deal with them in His perfect time. But justice is not just about them, it is about your restoration. You are no longer bound by their manipulation. The confusion they created no longer cloud your mind. You do not need their apology to heal. You need their validation to move forward. God's justice is not just about consequences. It is about bringing you into true freedom. Look at what has already changed. You are stronger now. You no longer react to that triggers the guilt they placed upon you. No longer holds weight where there was fear. Now there is peace. Isaiah 61:7 declares, instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion, and everlasting joy will be yours. What was meant for harm, God is turning into blessing. Some people believe justice means seeing the narcissist suffer, but true justice is deeper than revenge. It is breaking free from their hold, reclaiming your life, and walking in the fullness of God's plan. When you no longer look back, when you no longer seek closure from them, you have already won. That is the victory the enemy never wanted you to have. Now it is time to move forward. No more looking for explanations. No more questioning if they will change. No more waiting for an apology that may never come. The story is no longer about what they did. It is about what God is doing. And He is leading you into something far greater than anything you lost. Healing is not just the absence of pain. It is the presence of peace. You do not have to carry the weight of their actions anymore. You do not have to hold on to what God has already removed. Exodus 14:14 reminds us, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. His justice does not require your revenge, only your trust. Declare it over your life today. God's justice prevails, and I walk in freedom. Type these words in the comments as a statement of faith. Let it be a testimony that you are no longer bound, no longer controlled, no longer deceived. When you speak truth, the enemy trembles because he knows he has lost. The battle is over. The chains are broken. You no longer belong to the past, to their control, or to the cycle of pain. You belong to God, and His justice is already at work. Do not waste another moment looking back. Walk forward in confidence, knowing that your story is no longer one of survival, but a victory. Trust in the Lord's timing. Trust in His plan. Trust that He has seen everything, and He will bring justice in ways far beyond what you could ever imagine. What was stolen will be restored. What was lost will be replaced.